Ever look at that massive summer garden harvest or those crazy, unbeatable supermarket BOGO deals and think, how in the world are we going to eat all of this? Well, imagine transforming all that extra food into delicious, long-lasting snacks that take up just a fraction of the space in your pantry. Welcome to our explainer on the fundamentals of food dehydration. Today, we're cutting through the noise and breaking down the actual science and the methods of safely preserving food at home so you can start doing this right away.
Okay, quick bit of housekeeping before we jump into the fun stuff. I need you to hear this loud and clear. This video is not intended to be a definitive guide. While not intentional, it is entirely possible that critical safety information was omitted during the production process. This video is intended to be a starting point for reasonable adults to begin conducting their own research and thus ensuring their own safety.
All right, here's our game plan for today. 1. Why dehydrate your food? 2. Essential equipment and safety. 3. Pre-treating for better results. And 4. Conditioning and proper storage. Let's get to it.
Section 1. Why dehydrate your food? Let's talk about the real-world benefits.
So why even bother? Honestly, the benefits of home dehydration go way beyond just having tasty snacks around. It's an absolute game changer for your budget. By jumping on supermarket specials or preserving what you grow, you're drastically cutting down on household food waste. And remember, buying the dehydrator, that's just a one-time cost, but the savings literally just keep rolling in week after week. Plus, dried foods take up significantly less space than a bunch of bulky canned or frozen goods. It's incredibly convenient, it gives you natural snacks with this highly concentrated extreme flavor, and, get this, it actually retains more nutritional quality than traditional canning methods.
To really get how this works, we just need to look at the basic science of drying. Dehydrating is simply a method of food preservation that removes enough moisture from the food that bacteria, yeast, and molds absolutely cannot survive or grow. It's like starving the bad stuff. Spoilage needs water to happen, so by using low humidity, low heat, and really good air circulation, we just strip that water right away. It creates a totally inhospitable environment for the microbes that make our food go bad. Section 2. Essential equipment and safety. Let's look at the gear you actually need. When you're out there shopping for an electric food dehydrator, there are a few absolute non-negotiables you want to look for. First up, you need an enclosed thermostat that ranges from 85 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Second, you really want a timer. Since drying cycles take hours, and honestly, they usually finish up in the middle of the night, a timer guarantees your machine shuts off so you don't wake up to scorched food. You're also going to want double wall construction, either metal or high-grade plastic. And please pay very close attention to this warning. Never, ever use the dehydrator made of wood. Wood is a massive fire hazard, and it is notoriously hard to clean and sanitize. Just don't do it.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the difference between the two main designs you'll see, horizontal versus vertical airflow. With horizontal units, the fan and heating element are parked on the side. This is generally the superior choice. Why? Because it stops flavors from mixing, meaning you can totally dry onions and apples at the exact same time without making onion-flavored apples. Plus, all the trays get equal heat and liquids won't drip into your heating element. Vertical flow units, on the other hand, have the fan at the base, so as the air pushes up, flavors can easily mix together. Worse, any juices from your produce can drip right down onto that heating element, which creates a huge mess or even a malfunction.
Section 3. Pre-treating for better results. Let's talk about prepping your food.
Okay, you might be tempted to just slice up some veggies and toss them straight into the machine, but hold up. For a lot of vegetables, you really need a pre-treatment step called blanching. This is just the process of briefly heating or scalding your veggies in boiling water or steam. So why do we bother? Well, first, it completely stops the enzymes that cause your food to lose flavor, color, and texture over time, but more importantly for us, blanching actually weakens the plant's cell walls. And a weaker cell wall means that the trapped moisture inside can evaporate much faster once it's sitting in your dehydrator.
Now, when it comes to fruits like apples or pears, you know how they turn that unappetizing brown color almost instantly? You'll want to use an acidic solution to stop that oxidation. It's super simple. Just mix cold water with ascorbic acid, which is literally just vitamin C powder, or you can use bottled lemon juice. You soak your washed, cut produce in this bath for about 10 minutes. Then pull it out, drain it really well, and pat it dry so you aren't dragging a bunch of extra liquid into your dehydrator. And here's a critical safety rule. Never, ever reuse that acidic solution for a second batch of food. It can spread pathogens, so always make a fresh mix.
Section 4. Conditioning and proper storage. This is what you do after the machine turns off. All right, this final stage right here is where beginners tend to make the biggest mistakes. You absolutely have to know when your food is done.
And the sensory cues you're looking for are very different depending on what you're drying. Vegetables need to be taken down to about 10% moisture. You'll know they're ready when they become completely brittle and crisp. Honestly, some veggies will literally shatter if you hit them with a hammer at this stage. Fruits are a different story. They hold on to more sugar and should contain about 20% moisture. So they won't shatter, they're done when they feel tough and pliable, kind of like a piece of leather.
That brings us to a really crucial concept for fruits called conditioning. Since vegetables are taken down to that bone-dry 10%, you can skip this step for them. But fruits resting at 20% moisture absolutely need it. See, when you pull fruit from the dehydrator, the moisture isn't perfectly even. Thicker pieces or stuff from the back of the machine might be just a little bit wetter than the rest. Conditioning is a simple 7 to 10 day process that equalizes that moisture across the entire batch, which massively reduces your risk of mold popping up later.
Here's exactly how your conditioning routine should look. Once your fruit is completely cool, pack it loosely into glass or plastic jars and seal them up tight. Just leave them sitting out on your counter for 7 to 10 days. But once a day, you're going to walk by and give those jars a good shake to separate the pieces. While you're doing that, look super closely at the inside of the jar. What's happening is the drier pieces are actively absorbing the extra moisture from the wetter pieces. Now, if you ever see actual water condensation forming on the inside of the glass, stop right there. That is a major red flag. It means the batch is still way too wet, and you've got to put that fruit right back into the dehydrator.
So your food is perfectly dried and conditioned. Now, how do we store it? First rule, always let the food cool completely for 30 to 60 minutes after you take it out of the heat. If you pack up warm food, it's going to sweat, which traps moisture in the jar and basically guarantees mold. Once it's cool, pack it as tightly as you can into clean, completely dry, insect-proof containers. Glass home canning jars are brilliant for this because, well, you can easily spot any sneaky moisture collecting on the glass. Also, a really smart pro tip, pack your foods in small batches that you'll use all at once for a recipe. Every single time you open a jar, you let in air and humidity, which slowly degrades the food.
And this brilliantly illustrates our target temperature, 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Because heat destroys food quality over time, your storage temperature basically dictates your shelf life. If you can stash your tightly sealed dried fruits in a cool, dark spot that hovers around 60 degrees Fahrenheit, they'll hold their top quality for a full year. Vegetables usually have about half the shelf life of fruits, but keeping them cool and in the dark ensures they stay delicious and packed with nutrients for months.
Well, we've covered the whole shebang, the science, the gear, the prep, and those absolute must-do steps of conditioning and storage. By investing just a little bit of time and following these safety guidelines, you're going to build up a pantry stuffed with lightweight, nutrient-dense, shelf-stable foods. So, I'll leave you with this. With the promise of less food waste, huge grocery savings, and extreme natural flavor on the line, what are you going to dehydrate first? Thanks for hanging out with me on this explainer, and happy preserving!